Hello and welcome to GeekVerse Sidequest, your weekly stop for video game news, reviews, and more here on the GeekVerse Podcast Network. I'm your host, the Wooden Doll, Dylan Musnave with me, and not a tadpole, Travis Snell. How's it going, my friend?
Good. Not a tadpole. Looking for my family. But before that, gonna make a stop. Talk a little video games here at SideQuest.
Yeah, lots going on in the SideQuest realm right now. I released a bonus episode where I cast my Game Awards votes. Next week, we're going to all get together, do our predictions.
Yes.
Me and Taylor
At least you and me.
At least, yeah, at least the two of us.
You and me are always consistently on them. The other two we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Hopefully we get all four of us. And then me and Taylor just did the biggest ranking in GeekVerse history. We ranked every single course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So that was
biggest in GeekVerse history. What's the metric?
It's like
for that?
It's 96 tracks. So I don't think we've ever ranked 96 things in one go.
I'd have to. You're right for once. Yeah, I guess you're right for one single thing. I think when we did the very first Infinity Saga after Endgame, that was a long episode because I think there was like a 4 because we ranked.
Oh yeah,
remember?
no, I don't mean like longest episode. I mean
a
just
single
strictly
thing? Yeah.
on terms of the numbers. Like this is the most things that ever been
You're
ranked in
definitely
one podcast. So that's a claim I can boldly make. Other than that, not much. Shout out, because things are released in all sorts of weird orders and things are coming out, bonus and whatnot. Patreon's a great place to be because you get everything as soon as we record them, pretty much right up there, and ad free as well. The ad free feed that you can put into your podcast player and then listen wherever you want. Join Discord. What else is there? Hit up our website, Twitter, Facebook, and I don't even know what we're recording. We're doing a newscast this week.
It'll be a newscast. We're recording some Patreon stuff. So there you go. Some X-Men retrospectives because those have released to public and some other originals. So there'll be that. So you check out that. And then myself, I'll start pimping this because this became an idea today on Saturday for any wrestling fans out there. I'm going to live stream and watch the pay-per-view this weekend with a few people. The girls are out of town, so I'm just watching alone. So I hit up a few of my wrestling Twitter peeps. F Bubs is going to be on there, stuff like that. So just like, hey, I'm going to watch it already. Why not hang out with some other fellow GV wrestling watchers? And because the wrestling Discord at one point was dead, but I think S Bubs becoming a fan has revitalized that because it's a newbie.
I might have that one muted. No,
definitely
offense,
for sure.
So I don't even know what's going on in there.
That's okay, but that's he started watching wrestling S Bubs, so that's why I think it's vitalized it because we're like, oh well, there's this you could watch and this. So
very exciting.
Yeah, check out that and then Patreon too. Even if you're a non-Patreon, you can remember you can go in there. We always get the weekly schedules too, like everything that's dropping in the week. So
and in the last two, this month and last month, the bonus bread and butter episodes were both video game focused things. So especially a great time to go over there for the SideQuest fans of the world. Today we're talking all about Super Mario RPG with a couple quick pit stops before we get there. I want to open with this Mario Wonder. You were originally going to be on that review with me, and then you couldn't quite play as much, and you had a busy weekend, and la-di-da-di-da, you couldn't join on the episode. So I'm curious how much you've played that game at this point. Obviously, you've been splitting your time with RPG and getting that Call of Duty Battle Pass and whatnot, but how's that going for you?
So Battle Pass, good. That happened.
Got your spawn skin.
That happened. Yeah, the weekend after Extra Life, I got that because we were just on that. We were on that like 98 percentile. Yeah, we were crazy. Close. So it's like I gotta get this. I know it's December, no wonder I didn't actually get till I think the weekend after because we were waiting because like me and Emma will probably replay, but we want to play with the kids, and I thought that's a good aspect to bring to the review as well because that's a little bit different. Because I guarantee you, whatever the hardest mode you're playing on does not compare to when one of the kids has the crown and control the camera.
God, yeah.
That is a vicious cycle, especially Logan. She's a little chaos kid, and oh my goodness, there's many times like Gwen's a much better Yoshi player. When Logan's Yoshi, like, hey, come over here, I need to jump your back. No, I'm not doing it. Like, no, like you're Yoshi, you have to do this. No, I'm not gonna. And then we explain, oh, okay, and then it'll be 5 minutes later. Hey, I need Yoshi. No, I'm going. It's like, oh my goodness. So no, it's been tons of fun. I'm excited because I haven't really played. I know me and Emily, like I said, we're gonna do a run just ourselves. So I haven't done like that full on. We're going quick. Like we're very much taking our time, but I think we're in the. We have 2 more piranha plants to get rid of, so we're making good headway and stuff. Because there's been a couple days, like a couple weeks ago, the kids were sick. There's one day it was just very cold outside, so it's the perfect type of winter like activity for hey, there's not much going on. Let's play some games. And these are games I wanted to try them on because like. The ideal, because first game I ever played was like the Super Nintendo. Was the first one called Super Nintendo or just Nintendo? It was just Nintendo, right?
The very NES, first Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I grew up on. That was the first game my dad gave me, and I could give it to them. I own that, and it's all over. But it is still like almost like it's pretty dated now. Like it still works. It's still a great game, but this is like that in a sense, plus a bunch of other stuff with the elephants and everything. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I like the creativity of the world. I really like, and I think this is something that they did. It feels like a big mesh of Mario Wii U and 3D World. Like they took those two concepts and just threw them together, because Mario 3D World had a lot of that. Oh, to get here, you got to get some seeds, or this is like a different type of level. It's like a minute trial. So I like the variety, because I have nothing wrong with playing all the Mario levels, but I like, oh, every once in a while there's a trial, or there's this type of weird like puzzle level and stuff like that.
The
So
scavenger hunt ones, those ones can be tricky too.
Oh yeah, so it's a really good variety. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. We'll definitely be playing through it to beat it, and yeah, it's been a good one to start on them. I said this when we did the showcase, but I really applaud them for adding the Yoshis. I agree with you that there still should be one Yoshi you could play that's not like the kid one, but
yeah,
it's been great, because if we were playing with them in Damage, there's no way it would be you're not ready for this. So this is like a really good kind of learning stepping stone. Especially Logan hasn't done much games; she's played like a Ninja Turtles game and a couple Paw Patrol games. So it's a really good game that, okay, there is a basicness to it, but you're still learning some jumps. And plus, when you get to stuff like a really tough thing, you can still do the ghost option. You know, just okay, we're just gonna ghost you up, we'll get you, and I like that aspect. So no, I think it's kind of what they promised on the showcase, where it looks like you're getting all your classic stuff, but kind of there's an evolution to it, and that's it. It still feels like classic Mario. You still get those vibes of the jumping, the timing, and everything. I think we're only playing a normal right now. I do think there's quite a few worlds that are you breeze through them pretty easy. You know, there's not too much of a challenge there. So I would say probably if you're looking for like a tropical freeze challenging game, I don't think Mario Wonder's that, but I think Mario Wonder is just a good time in the Mario world, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's just the more open nature of these different worlds. They can kind of do a good job of that, where like, okay, the 5-star difficulty ones, they can just put on the side and it's not a mandatory thing. And then there's definitely, because me and Muds finally actually beat the game over the weekend.
Nice.
We beat the big Bowser. The final boss fight was very fun, which I'm impressed by, because I feel like Bowser fights, he's an iconic character and all, but I can't really think of a Bowser fight that's like truly a great mechanical, intriguing fight. It's never really why you play a Mario game, or it's just like a little punctuation on the end of the sentence there. But I really enjoyed the final boss fight for this, and the final level was cool too. But yeah, there's definitely like more hidden or secret stuff to do, and some of that stuff is marked at the higher difficulty. So I don't know how much we'll play at this point. I'll definitely jump back in there and complete some stuff here or there. But I feel like I definitely got the majority of the itch scratched by just kind of playing through it and not mainlining it, doing most of the levels that we saw on our way. But there's definitely a couple secret areas that we could have gone into, but were maybe a bit too hard at the time.
And the secret thing is good, because I feel like that's good for in a couple months when you are getting an itch and you're talking about, hey, what game should we play? Like, oh, let's do some Wonder. Then there's some stuff there.
Every once in a while we have that platformer itch, so it's always a good one to come back to, because it's easy to jump back in.
I like to do that. Like even with Spider-Man, I've not 100% it, but I've left it for, okay, when I'm a little free and I'm just like really want some Spider-Man, I can jump in here. Like I finished all the ones that people were talking about, like, oh, you should play this one, but I haven't like, done every boss, whatever, like a tower. I haven't taken every photograph, but it's like, I'll save that for when I'm getting that itch. So, and same thing with Wonder. We've kind of played, I think maybe usually lately it's been twice a week, like usually one night before bed we'll maybe do like an hour and a half, and that's the good thing about the game. Like it's perfect for none of the levels are really that long, so literally if we want to play an hour, you can play an hour. It's not like okay, what am I in for now? So with us, it's great with the kids that, okay, you can literally say, okay, 2 more levels, and it kind of time, you kind of have a gauge, especially even like you said with the stars. It's like, okay, we're doing bedtime in 20 minutes. Let's just do a couple 2-star ones. You're like, let's keep it that way. So no, I think it's a big win for them. Obviously, it reviewed well, and I know Taylor says the same thing. Him and Master are having a good time. So I think they delivered something good with such a break. As also we talked about, there is Mario Maker, but it's been a while, and and honestly, all the Wonder stuff has been fun. The badge stuff, I think, like, I can take it or leave it. I don't know if they need to bring that back. Like it's a fun little gimmick, but I don't think it's. And right now, maybe it'll be different when me and Emily just do a run through, because right now we just have that jump badge on, like if you fall and then it boosts you up, because that gives them another chance to get on the platform stuff. Sense. So that's key. But even some of the other ones have just been like hold down and like do a big jump. It's like, not that they're nuisances, but nothing has been like, oh, this is really cool. So they're fine. But
one of the thoughts I had like pre-launch was, I feel like I'm gonna maybe want 2 or 3 of these at a time, and just like for a little bit of
Yeah.
variety. And you never, or at least I haven't got to that point yet, and I don't think you do. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel that way, especially now. I think it would be a little more fun if, because your moveset is very basic in this game, other than getting elephant mode, or obviously the wonder flowers make each level kind of have some different control scheme
Yeah.
to it. So you never get bored of it in that way. But I still would like just a little bit more on the variety, because I'm always on to the grappling hook one. I just love that. I just think it's so much fun. That's my kind of go-to at this point.
Or even it'd be nice too if like your second player, whoever, could pick a different badge as well too,
Yes.
right? Because
Yeah,
it's just you're
definitely.
just locked to that one. So it's like me and Emily, obviously we don't need the spring one. So it'd be cool if we could do this, like especially those. And it's just in the sense of it doesn't take that much time, but when you get to the swimming level, do I want to go back and switch it there, and then the next one switch it? It's just like I wish there was.
Yeah, I don't know why that needs to be a badge. Like, just let me swim. Come on.
Yeah, and like I this is way too much for Nintendo. I don't think they'd ever make like presets where you go and I'm like, oh, I'd use it for this one or this one. But that'd be my Mario Making Advance. Like if they do a Mario Maker 3 and they include badges, that'd be my advance. Like, oh, presets is what I want, because that'd be cool. If like, okay, for the missions where the screen's moving, I got this. For the water missions, I got like the swim kick and stuff. But again, it's kind of just like being greedy. I don't really have any. I don't have any major complaints. Like if I was on the review, I probably would just thrown an easy 10 just because I had a great time with it. I don't have anything that's like, oh, this really brought down. Like for a Mario game, which you're wanting, it does that a little bit more. So great.
Are you mostly rocking Luigi, or you been switching around?
No, I've switched around. I've done, but these games I don't really have a preference because I feel like they all move pretty similar. But I've done Peach, Mario, Luigi. I haven't done any Yoshis or Nabbit because for the obvious reasons.
We still have not played Nabbit at all. I'm curious what his moveset. Has anyone in your household played Nabbit at all?
Logan has. She's that fits with that character. So I haven't got to see too much of it. I will say though that some of their transformations in the Wonder World are pretty good. Like all the characters will look pretty much just like a Mario character, and then like something. It was some situation where they got turned into like these rabbit monsters, and it was all like the hat, the crowns, and then like the rabbit ears, and that was it. But Nabbit's one was all like the whole Nabbit face turned into like this big kind of rabbit, so that kind of fit. But from what I've seen, it doesn't look like he plays like too much differently. I think you can like actually scoop up stuff like his Yoshi thing is like that, but
like a Yoshi tongue, but without the range, I guess, something like that. Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to try that out. How about WarioWare? Have you gone back and played any of that since the stream? I'm curious because I was wondering what the single player element of the game was like too.
Yeah, we haven't done single player. Me and Emily only played it one more time, and we were going to do it again because I guess there's one weekend it was really bad weather, but the girls were also sick, so we didn't want to do WarioWare because that game they're gonna play with us, but not with the remotes. But they're just gonna do like the stuff on the side because I think there's some stuff they won't get. But so only the one other time. We're kind of waiting. Emily's away this weekend, so we're hoping when she gets back, I want to dive more into that. But it might be a situation where we might just go and finish Wonder and do that. But at least I'm happy with the purchase because I'm not sure. Did you guys talk? Because I didn't listen to the Modern Warfare 3 one.
Yeah, me and Kirkland talked about it like the week after the 24-hour stream in our big section where we just talked about all the games we played on the stream.
Yeah, so like honestly, we haven't got to it, but the fun we had that night was worth it. It is that game that definitely is best for those situations for like group activity. Like you can single play, but that's the time, especially that first night too, where we had no idea what was coming. Eventually, it's like okay, you learn something, you have an idea, but this is like, what do you do? Like, why did I grab this? Like I feel like every second game, someone was like, this makes no sense. That's kind of the point of WarioWare. So
I could really see that becoming a staple of the stream, where every year it gets popped up, especially in like the later hours, like a good like 11 p.m. That seems kind of perfect. And I heard that you unlock more co-op modes. Like I don't know if you do that through single player. I guess you probably just do it through campaign, which I believe you can play through in co-op, right? So but I thought it was cool that at least when we jumped in there for the stream, like we had immediately like whatever it was, 4 or 5 of those, like the doctor one, I forget what the one with the knight where to fight Medusa. You unlock a few of those, but it sounds like you can even get more when you play through the game. So that's pretty exciting too, that even what was there, which seemed like a good amount of variety, is just like a tiny bit of what you're going to get.
Well, I'll definitely report back once we get more into it. But that's like what I would recommend if anybody has situations where they have a lot of, whether it's family or group scenarios, that game, because people are playing that like don't play video games that much, you know, like it's literally like we talk about, there's hard aspects to it, but kind of in like a tricky way, not like I've never played games and what's the X button, like no, it's pretty simple that way. So no, I had a good time with it. I think you're right that probably you'll see it on a couple streams in the future, but nice. So that one, yeah, we need to get more into, luckily I think soon, because I'm gonna do more RPG, more Wonder, but I think most of the biggest games have released now. I don't know what is the next like big girthy game coming out.
Big girthy game.
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like the start of next year is actually pretty light compared to the last 2 years, which have had some heavy hitters.
Because this fall, it's just been
exactly
like,
everything's getting jammed in. So yeah, I don't actually know. I feel like I don't think I'm picking up anything new in December. I'm just gonna be finishing things. And
not Destiny 2, the final shape.
not the final shape. Maybe the next shape after that, but not that one.
Yeah, no, because I know we got our preview coming up, so I'm not gonna read them all. But yeah, I'm just scrolling through. There doesn't look anything huge. Like I think, and this isn't even coming out. Like I feel like the next one is almost like a Nintendo one of like the Peach game, and I think we might be getting that. So it's like,
what's that,
other
April
than that,
or something
though,
like that.
Yeah, it's a March 22nd, so right by April. Oh God, they still replaced. Never heard anything about replaced this year. Like where has replaced been?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I mean, Game Awards, right? That's a great time for a bunch of games to get release dates, so that could happen.
Oh, I guess that's the big one. But as we've said before, no one unfortunately is covering this podcast. February is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But
yes,
unfortunately, it doesn't sound like anyone in GeekVerse or Geek Ultimate Alliance is getting that game. Like I
which
said,
is
really
crazy, but that's what they've done to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's good for me because I want to finish up these games, and then, like I said, I think Alan Wake has shot to my top. I have that backlog list, like you guys did that episode, but it's just with the hubbub around. I don't think I'll get to it before Game Awards, and I've always wanted to, because I've seen some people pick up 2 and be like, I've never played one. Like I don't want to do that. I know probably they're not too connected, but still, just the completionist in me wants to start with 2. So yeah, I think that's tippy top of the list once I finish through some of these Mario games. So
that's exciting. Yeah, I'm still enjoying that. Just taking my time. It's with any horror game or scary game like this, especially Alan Wake, slight spoiler, a lot of jump scares in this game. I need to be in the right mindset to play, and that's not always the mood. So I'm making my way through it kind of slowly, but still enjoying it. But yeah, how about we get into our main topic then, which is Super Mario RPG. So this is my first time playing this game. It's one of those eternal backlog games for you. So I was excited for this remake because it hasn't been on Nintendo Switch Online because of Square being part of it and Nintendo. The rights I get maybe are kind of weird. I don't know. I'm sure Nintendo could just release it if they want to. But Travis, I believe this is a childhood kind of game for you. What is your history with this guy here?
So I remember this like on the way of it coming out. This thing got spammed trailer-wise on YTV. It was all over YTV, and I was watching Goosebumps, Afraid of the Dark, Freaky Stories, whatever else was on there. And I just remember seeing the idea, and that's kind of my whole kind of love for the game, this idea, because up until this point, Mario had a couple things like Paper Mario, Mario Party, like they were starting to spread their horizons. But
this would have been before all those, though.
Really,
right?
Was it?
I mean, maybe by the time you played it, but I mean, this is SNES, right? So...
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. So that's where, for me, all I remember, so then I'm having a Mandela effect, but at least this part is true, where I just remember it and seeing Mario like go into different worlds or locations, like moving around that way and not in the 2D like side-scroller fashion, blew my mind. I like, what is this game? So I had to have it because just based on that, even as a young, I went, this looks different. And another selling point, I remember this, even the box art just looked different, but the biggest
very
thing,
iconic weird box art.
Yeah, like all the things, it was all the visual stuff. It all worked on me and all like looking like it was a different game. And then the other thing that I've talked about on many comic book reviews, but the fact that I saw gameplay, which I probably didn't even know the word gameplay was at that point in my life, but the fact that I saw gameplay of Bowser being able to be on your team, I was sold. Because if you don't know me, I love anytime you can get that hero villain team up combo. We've talked about the same thing with Smash, right? You may have always been like, I never champion like Ridley like you, but it's just like, or Ripley, sorry, not Ridley. That's
Ridley.
Else.
You got it.
Is it Ridley? Okay, I'm all over the map today.
You're right. You're right.
I always want more villains in those games, right?
Yes.
Because like we fight them for decades, and like what do they control? Like what do they feel like? Not that this game is like a perfect representation of that, but still, it's just so. It was the art style. It was just the actual gameplay of seeing Mario do these things I never had, and seeing Bowser. Think, man, I got to get my hands on Bowser, because like even too, and same thing with GameCube. That's why Melee. 22 years today,
Yep.
by the way, 22-year-old, seeing Bowser as a playable character, that was an instant, like, I need this Christmas list now. I'm a big Bowser guy. So, yeah, it literally, they did their job. It was the marketing that got me so enamored with it. And then once I played it, which we'll talk about this game, it was just, or in this review, it's such a weird, different game. Even, like, this must have been the early semblance of Travis Stern, like, weird stuff, because, like, the best way to describe it, it's the closest before Wario and Waluigi, Nintendo got to that tongue-in-cheek fourth wall breaky sort of deal. Like, this is a game that I don't know, and not that it's like R-rated. I just don't even know if they would make a game like this anymore. And they did, but I mean like a new game, right? Of like at times where it's like poking fun of itself, and Mario's a character. Like I feel like in a good way.
There's two Toads that very obviously, not so obviously, say that they're going to go bang after their wedding is complete, and then they're going to go on their honeymoon.
Yeah, it does not make any sense how this game, and some of the stuff I didn't get as a child, but playing back now, it's just crazy. So it's just a weird game in a good way. So those are all my memories.
So I'm trying to think too. So I know you had the SNES Classic. Was this game on that console?
No, it wasn't. No.
Okay, so have you played this game ever since like childhood again? Is it just been lost to time for the last 20 years for you?
So that was my worry as I booted up for the first half an hour, because I was like, I just spent $80 on this game, and I have no problem because, it's all for the review, and I loved this game, so I'm down for the experiment, and the reviews were good enough. But so I boot up this game, and I'd say the first little bit's pretty basic. I was like, oh, this was a pure nostalgia run for me. Like, I'm going to come on this review so disappointed. I'm going to have to tell Dylan, like, oh, man, like, I'm going to be here, but I made a mistake. Luckily, it's not that case to talk about. But for a while, I was thinking, oh, this was just a nostalgia bait. And because I was like, there's not too much to this game, and I also still don't think it's the most vast game, but so no, I had never had my hands on it. Unfortunately, my sister, one time she moved, she had like borrowed some of the games, and she lost a bunch of these games, and this was one of those ones that I was and I was bummed about this. It was this, there's a Mortal Kombat game, like it was a slew of like really good picks too, but yeah, so I have not touched it since the 90s at least, or maybe early 2000s. So yeah, it had been a while, so this was a risky purchase. So
yeah, no, I mean, in terms of just first impressions, I'm in the same spot as you, where I just love to see Nintendo getting weird, because they don't always do this, and it seems like the RPG times is when they get to do this, like a Mario and Luigi, or I haven't really played much Paper Mario either, but I'm sure those get kind of weird at times, or at least those older ones do. And so this is fun and refreshing in that way, even though it is a remake, and I imagine it's somewhat faithful, fairly faithful to its source material, and that's why they can get away with some of those weirdness, because it's like, well, this is just what this original game was. We're just being, faithful to what it was. So, how much, how close does it feel to you? Does it feel like a kind of one-to-one with upgraded graphics? Obviously, this is based off very old memories at this point, but does it feel close to that memory you have?
Yeah, pretty like it does in the best way, which some people might say money grab, because I've not played it soon enough to remember, they changed this for me, this piece of dialogue. But this feels pretty much like the experience I had, just for like re-upped with the better graphics and gameplay. Maybe moving at like a quicker space, because I feel like as a child, some of the stuff was probably a bit more challenging.
Yeah, you probably moved on like only grid movements, I imagine, in the original, right?
Yeah,
rather than
that felt very blocky. Like this feels very smooth, at least, but that did feel like you said, like very almost Mario Party-esque. But that you have a dice for the guy Rosie. This is like you're literally moving like that. Like Mario felt very SpongeBob-y. So all of it feels good, but for the most part of like the rotation, what you do, some of the story beats, this all feels pretty one-to-one for my murky memories back in the day.
I love it. And I guess, worth noting, like, I think we're at almost the exact same spot in the game, because I messaged you earlier asking where you were. One, because I was stuck at a slight spot. I ended up just Googling what I had to do. And I'm glad I did, because like I would not have figured that out. It's the section where you have to like go talk to the frog guy, to Mallow's dad again. And you go,
tadpole,
you go talk to him again, and he's like, oh, I'm so sad that Mallow's gone. I'm kind of hungry. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here. I talked to all the tadpoles in the area. I did like that music thing, which I hadn't done before. I'm like, no one's giving me any food to give to this guy. I don't really know what to do. So I looked it up, and you just have to like grab a cricket from like Mushroom Kingdom, and I'm like,
Okay,
I don't know how I was supposed to know about this cricket.
I literally think that's where it was because I think he started talking. I was like, I'll deal with you tomorrow. And I didn't get to any more gameplay today. So I literally think I'm there, or I've at least been told to go back to him because that whole scenario of talking to him and feeling like what's next, I feel like I had that situation. The music, I'm not even going to try. I don't even understand what's going on there. I was like, I don't know how I would have tried that as a child because maybe I have to listen to him a few more times, but I just like, what do they want me to do here?
I had to write a note on my phone to keep track of what it is. It's pretty weird.
And what did you even get? Was it just like a green token? Was it worth it?
Oh my god, no. The composer gives you something. It was Oh my god. It was a card so that when you go to the shopkeeper tadpoles on the other side, you can like buy a couple extra items from them. And I think they're decent enough items, but they were like pretty expensive or something. So I don't know. It was something to that effect. But
I might hit it up then. I'm all about items, so I'll go over there.
All of it you can do within that area. That like there's another tadpole that gives you a hint as to what the composer's looking for. But yeah, anyway, I was stuck on that part for a little bit, and then I just looked it up and had to go get this cricket to give the frog guy, and then I went to the sea town and did that whole section with the pirate ship. That's where I ended off just a bit ago. So, and that's at like, I guess this is a question, like, once again, you probably don't remember how long this game is, but I feel like right now I'm at like 5.5 hours, I think. I have like 5 of the 7 or 8 stars, whatever it is.
You have 5?
I think so. And like you get through it. I feel like this game's very short if it's going to go at the same pace. Like I feel like it'll probably be done in like 10 hours. Do you think that's accurate? That's very short for an RPG, but it's like pretty standard for a Mario game. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough because I feel like where I am, I only have 3 of the stars. That's because I remember I'm like I have. Oh well, maybe I have 4. I think because I have 4, and then there's 2 on the side, 1 in the middle. So I think I have 4 because I think there's 3 left. If I remember.
Did you go to the Star Rock thing? It's like right after
the ship.
It's right. No, it's before the ship. You go to like this little space. It's like a meteor that crashed down. You go in it, and there's like 3 levels with like stars and doors and keys.
And you have to like touch all the plants, and it opens up.
Yeah, so you did that. That gave you like whatever that is, the 4th or 5th star. That's sounds like we both just kind of are in the exact same spot, pretty much.
Yeah, the time thing, that one's tough for me to answer because it feels like I don't know what the concept I had of time there. Like it feels like all games are almost impossible, but not at the same time because I just feel like I would tear through games like Red Dead when I had nothing but time back in the day. But I'm getting the same feeling that it is a bit shorter. So that's why there's a couple nights where I put in a couple 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. playthroughs. And then once I was getting the stars at a adequate rate, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna slow this down and start enjoying it a bit more because I don't want to be over because I don't think that maybe there's a couple little passages here and there, but I don't know how much replay value it has other than I maybe would go back and replay it because I just played on normal for the review. Actually, I think you just have normal. I don't think there's a higher one. I think when you beat
it's normal
it,
normal breezy. Or like super easy, whatever they call it. Yeah.
So maybe there's gonna be like a beat this and you get a hard edition.
Sure.
I might do that, but I'm taking my time. But I feel like at 10 to 12 hours, that's probably right, or even maybe it's more like 8 to 10. If you want to streamline this and not talk to characters, like if you were somebody that just spammed the button through all the conversation, I bet it probably is maybe only 8 hours. So
and even then, I mean, it's like this is a Mario game, so there's not tons and tons of dialogue. There's more than an average Mario game because it's an RPG, but it's not like just text boxes full of paragraphs of stuff to read. So in that way, it's fine. Let's take our first break. We'll be right back, and we will talk more RPG. Okay, we are back. Where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about some of the characters or story, combat, favorite section?
I want to do combat because I wanted to ask you a question because this is maybe plays into the whole, the normal versus hard, the playthrough and stuff like that. How many times do you think you've died in this game?
Probably 3 times.
Okay. Because that's my thing. Like I've only died once, and that's one thing I found in this game where I never, other than maybe a couple boss battles, I didn't feel like I was challenged too much most of the time. I feel like and that's why I am kind of hoping there's a hard mode. So that was my first thing. Even though I'm enjoying the combat and stuff, I had never felt like I was too much in danger. Where I feel like we talked about when we did Midnight Suns. Not that's the same way, but there's certain battle aspects that the same where I feel like you and me, we'd be rocking for a while, be good, and then you just bump into a certain like level cap, and you're like, oh man, now we're really in it. And there's like these type. So I feel like I'm still kind of waiting for that, but that'd be one thing where I feel like is a bit slighter. Like I wish there was maybe a bit more challenge, or even more just more enemies maybe in the field sometimes.
Right,
so.
in the arenas. Yeah, I guess especially now that we both have like what I assume is the full roster of 5 characters.
Yes.
I feel like at that point it's probably a lot harder to actually die. Although I literally just died. Like after I complete like that octopus box in the pirate ship, and then I was leaving and had to fight like a mimic chest. And I died to that mimic chest, and I had all 5 members at that point. So it can happen for sure. It can sneak up on you at times because sometimes enemies will do just a lot more damage than you expect. But that's something that's very surprising for me. So I know this game going into it, I kind of knew it had like that timing element to it. When you're about to do an attack, if you hit your button at the right time, you'll do a bonus attack. For most characters, it like turns your basic attack into dealing more damage and also an AoE, so it hit all the enemies there. You're gonna get like bonus healing if you do it on those kind of things, and like any single action, you can hit that button at the right time to get a bonus thing. And then also it's the same for defense, right? Where if you hit A at the right time, B, whatever it is, then you'll just block the damage. I think that was the most surprising thing for me because, hot off Sea of Stars, which has this exact same mechanic in it, but in Sea of Stars, they kind of treat it more as like, this is bonus. If you don't do it, you'll be fine. But if you're trying to like optimize your play and be really efficient, you want to hit the button. And then there's certain spells and whatnot in that game that utilize it. But I think that's what shocked me here is that if you hit the block button, the enemies do 0 damage to you, like most of the time. And I guess that's where a lot of the difficulty part could come down. If you aren't super good with that timing, I imagine this game would be a lot harder than it is. And that feels like a really weird decision for me in like an RPG, a turn-based RPG like this, for like the brunt of the importance of combat to be just on strictly these timings. And a lot of the enemies have a very straightforward attack, but then some enemies have a really confusing attacks. Well, they'll charge up, but then they'll do like a little fake out, and then they'll hit you. And you can get used to some of these patterns, but like there's a ton of enemy variety and whatnot. So it's not like you're going to be amazing at recognizing all these patterns. And then sometimes it's pretty unclear when you're supposed to hit the button. So maybe you just have that innate timing, and maybe that's why you're not dying as much, is because you're just getting those blocks a lot. Do you feel like you are?
No, I think it might be that when we talk about items, I'm a big store stopper guy, so I'm always loading up before I go. I'm not hoarding. There we go. Hoarding my. Didn't want to say anything bad. I'm not hoarding my coins. I'm spending them when I can. So that could be it too. And maybe it's just. Yeah, maybe it's just the combo of people have. Right now, I mostly rock Mario, Bowser, and Mallow, or I always Mallow, whatever his name is. But
that's your go-to trio, would you say?
Yeah, I think the ones that kind of switches Bowser between Peach and Geppetto there, or Pinocchio, whatever his actual name is.
Chino, come on,
Chino, close enough, Geppetto. So it could be that, even though there's some enemies I maybe have like a 1 out of 10% block rate on. There's some that no matter what will just psych me out, and there's some that completely not at all. So it's funny, which kind of just all depends. But if you fight them enough, you get it. So maybe it's that. But I even find that if you miss your time to block, you can still block and they'll do less damage. Like I'll have many times where you'll do like a block, Bowser to have his hands up, they still hit you, but it might be like a 1 to 3, where if you completely don't block all, you get hit. So I feel like it's not too punishing that way, but that's where I wonder if on a harder difficulty, if it would just really take you down. But
yeah, I can't tell if there's like perfect timing versus you were close, but you were just off on your timing in terms of bonuses. There's a couple things I'm a little confused about. One is, and you probably know this better than me because you're a big Mallow fan. He's right now, I'd say, warming my bench just because now that I have the full crew. I think my main... I like to go... You always have to have Mario in. So I like to have Mario, Bowser, Geno as like my A team. And then when someone's low HP, then I like to sub in one of the healers. Or if I need a lot of AoE damage, then I'll bring Mallow in because he's got the Thunder Strike, which is the only thing that is guaranteed to hit everyone. Whereas with Mario, you got to hit the strike correctly if you want to get the bonus hit on everyone. So I like to. I'm trying to use like a very even mix of them all. I do like using all of them in there, and I think they make it very easy to switch in and out. But my question was, I feel like Mallow, more often than not, his regular attacks do like less than 3 damage, but then sometimes they will do like 40 or 50, which is like a standard amount of damage. His lightning strike always does a good amount, even if I don't hit the bonus. And even with his basic strike, even if I hit the timing right and get the bonus attack, sometimes it'll still do like less than 3 damage. I'm very confused as to why that is, because his physical stat is like, it's less than Mario's, but it's not enough to the point where it makes sense for him to do 3, but then also having this range where sometimes he's doing 50. Do you know what's going on there?
No, I don't. So with him, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if he's coded, because there is certain enemies where he will pop off and do like a 60, 70. There was this weapon, I'm mad I sold it. It kind of like changed it around. He had like 2 tambourines.
The symbols, yeah.
The symbols, yeah. I found when I had that, he was always hitting for the most part. And he was getting lots of the damage where the spread out damage where you time it and you get other people's.
Did you put the staff on him now that you get from the frog guy?
No, I haven't got that yet.
Oh,
so
okay.
There you go. So I'm missing a staff then, or I haven't.
You might have it in your pocket, because you don't buy it from a shop. He just like drops it in your pocket pretty much.
The frog guy.
Like his dad, like when you've obviously done this part because you've been to the ship, right? So
yeah,
you have unless you sold it, it should be in your equipment.
Maybe I haven't. Yeah, I have in the ship, so it must just be in my pocket. So I'll have to take it around, because right now I just got him going with the fists right now and everything. But no, I keep him in there because that Thunderstruck, that is my go-to. There's a couple people, like a lot of the dry bone people, anyone's dead, they have a lot of resistance to it, so that kind of sucks. But then if that doesn't work, he is just my support guy. He's the guy that's going to do the mushrooms, the flower power. So that's where I've used him. Mario, you have to have him in there, but he's good versatility, and he has lots of really cool specials and stuff. And Bowser's my tank, because Bowser right now I have the big cannon chain, which sometimes is a pain. Yeah, it's fun.
Hard to get the timing right, but it does good damage.
Every time I think he's about to swing, it's one more he swings around and like, oh crap. But even if he hits it, it's still almost like a guaranteed 30-40. It's like when you time it, I've seen like at 100. It's like I've seen him just knock people out. So that's why that's my heavy. Peach, the one I do like, and that's why usually Gino's last. I do really like the bring everybody up, the whole HP for everyone. So
yes, that's really nice.
I don't think I've rocked it too much, but I think soon I might try to start rocking a bit more of a Mario Peach Mallow situation, because then he can hit everybody, she can heal everybody, and Mario can do whatever he needs to, So, but that's kind of my 3, and I like Gino enough. I like he has like the shooting the wood and stuff. I just found like his special, it wasn't really jiving with me.
The Gino beam.
Yeah, and I think I bumped into a couple of enemies, like even boss battles, where this isn't doing much. So, and I
that's funny that you're having that experience, because to me, I feel like he's my heaviest damage dealer, just by default, with his basic attack or with his
basic good. Yeah.
The Gino beam is super good too, and I also like that he has I have the boost ability with him now, so I can like give someone bonus damage, and so usually at the start of a battle, like a boss battle, I'll boost up Mario, since he's just always going to be in there, a consistent heavy hitter in that way. So that's funny. Maybe that's just like stat distribution. Maybe that stuff's kind of random, and maybe your stats on Gino are just way lower than the one I've been using. But maybe it's like I've been using him a lot, so maybe if you use characters more, because obviously everyone gets the XP, but maybe characters get better stats if you use them more. I'm not sure what it is, but Gino is one of those characters where he's one of those like most requested of all time Smash editions.
He'd be great in Smash.
And so even though I've never played the game before, I've always, same way I was kind of nostalgic for Isaac from Golden Sun and wanting him in Smash, because everyone always wants those characters in there. So since I'm so deep in the Smash community, I've always been like, yeah, Gino would be sick, and it's fun to finally play his game and see where he's from. And so I think that's why I was so attached to him. But I just love the story beat of him, where you just go into this house and this kid is playing with his little doll, and then he has this line of dialogue later where this essence like came down from heaven and inhabited this doll to come save the day. So I just love the lore of it. It's so interesting.
Very Gandalf like, Gandalf dies.
Absolutely. He has a mission.
Send
gotta
him
get
back.
The stars. Got to rebuild the path. It's perfect. So I was definitely a big fan of him on the lore perspective. But once again, it's so much fun to have Bowser in the team there. Another question for you. I feel like there's the exclamation marks that will show up when to like help you time your bonus attack or your block, but they don't always show up. Is it just like there enough to try and teach you what the timing is, and then once the game thinks you know it like removes it, because I feel like even for ones I'm getting like almost every time, it'll still like put it there. Just very confused about, once again, why that's kind of not consistent.
I wasn't sure if that was like a special buff certain enemies had where you don't get to see it, because I have the same thing. Like, shouldn't I be seeing it all the time, or now none of the time, or shouldn't it be an option that turn on off? So I have the same thing you, that even in the same battle, it'll pop up and then it won't pop up. So then I'm like, because I try to get in the rhythm of, okay, get out of the exclamation mark, but then there's some enemies where it's like, man, when am I supposed to block? Because they'll chuck it, but it's one of those like poison things where they'll like, a boo will like throw a purple bubble when it's coming down. You're like, okay, what am I supposed to? It's like, I don't know if I could time that one by myself. So I've had the same thing. So I'm thinking maybe it's just certain enemies are going to be maybe a bit more on the challenging side and you don't get that, but I can't confirm that for sure.
Yeah. Once again, anyone in the comments, please help us out with these questions. Another one I have is, so you have FP, which I guess it's flower points, right? Because you're picking up flowers. It must be flower points.
Or flower power. That's how
flower power, whatever it is. So this is kind of your like shared mana pool, essentially. I'm a little confused where, like, when it replenishes, because obviously you can use like consumables, or if you use like, this is the thing that tripped me up at the beginning of the game, is you'll get like this thing that increases your flower power stat by 1 permanently. So it's like, well, I want to use that immediately, but it actually kind of makes sense if you wait until you're low flower power and then you use it, because it'll also heal all of your flower power as well as giving you that bonus one that you just unlocked.
I wasted that a few times where I get that toad thing and I have 15 and I go 17. Okay, I'm never doing this again. So but then just randomly I feel like it'll replenish, but I don't really know when. Is it when you level up? Because I feel like even that's not consistent. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like for some reason the level up, and I feel like it's happened a couple times after I've hit the save button, and when I move away from the block, it feels like everyone's healed up. So I'm not sure if there's
maybe the save button instantly. Well, the save button doesn't always necessarily fully heal you, though.
Yeah, but it's happened to me before where I've walked away and everyone's healed. I'm like, oh, is this a thing? So I'm not sure if it's kind of maybe if you, because this is a thing where it says it auto saves every time you go into a different world, which is a room. Maybe there's something like if you hit a save point at like a new world, that's like your one, okay, we'll give you a bunch of stuff back. I think a level up for sure. I think certain big enemies as well too. Like I think the special enemies when you kill them, because they say they give you like coins, but I think it's kind of loot in general, because there's times where I've used a bunch but I'll walk out of there and my flower power bar is full or almost full. So I think the special enemy types are supposed to kind of carry some of that as well.
Yeah. So there's a few of these things that are clearly kind of confusing for me. None of them are really affecting the experience too bad, but I guess it makes it hard to like strategize certain things, or feel like I have a very good grasp on like the RPG mechanics of it. And then what else is there to say about combat? Not too much for me. I like that there's kind of status effects in there. I feel like I've really used those a whole lot, because like Bowser now has the scare ability, and then Peach has one where she can put people to sleep. So I feel like now I'm starting to get abilities that are making it so I can put those effects on enemies rather than just being, put them onto me. And then one thing I love is the special gauge that you're building up based on like doing your combos. And I think what I just love about this is that when you pop that triple attack, I just love how every combination of characters has a different animation, and it's like a CG cutscene, and they're all really sick. So at first, it's gonna be Mallow, Mario, and Gino, because you have only those three in your party for a long time. But I love, that's like my favorite thing now. Anytime I fill that bar up, I'm just like, ooh, I haven't seen like Peach, Mallow, and Mario, so I want to see what that trio looks like. And all of them are some bespoke thing, and I loved Mario, Bowser, and Peaches. Have you seen this one yet? When
they're throwing, isn't like this? They go in his little Koopa cup, and they're like throwing the stars and the fire and everything. They're just like raining down.
Well, it's just like Mario Strikers. Bowser goes up in his shell. Peach like throws a star on him, so he gets like the star mode, and then Mario just jumps up in the air, fire in his eyes, and like kicks the shell down. It looks exactly like a cutscene from Mario Strikers.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
It's so sick. But all of them are cool. Like that's one thing. Some of them are in like the Koopa car. I think it's like maybe the Bowser, Gino, and Mallow or something, or I guess Mario are in there and firing stuff down. Like they're just all really satisfying. And I love that there's just this bespoke animation for each of them, rather than just like a little variation between the three of them. That's cool that they went above and beyond there.
Or just a chest every time too. They could have, right? You just got to team up, and then here's your special build.
Oh yeah, like the one that just Mario has.
Yeah, exactly, right. So they could have even back then just cheaped out on that and be like, you're just gonna get like a special item here, and there you go. But there's something to it. Obviously, there's something. Like maybe that's what I know. I don't know. Maybe that's something I wish they could have changed in this one. Even though I like Mario, it would have been great if you could have swapped him out too to get different combos. Not even for just the cutscenes, just for the just different combos. Because at the end of the day, when you're playing as Mario, you walk up and sometimes it's like, oh, where's Bowser? Bowser will just like materialize out of your body and be like, well, I was doing this. So it's like you could have probably
and that's like a plot point too. People are like, oh shit, Bowser's here all of a sudden. Like they don't know. It's very weird canonically to think about what's going on in that moment.
So I think you could have done that also with Mario, but I get it. You know, it's Mario RPG. You need them there, and you need people to ask them to jump. And oh, you are Mario. I didn't think you were. You know, I love that Mario's this hero, but barely anybody recognizes the poor man. You know, so
yeah, it is interesting. It seems like going into this, he is like a known hero, but then there are a lot of people that don't really seem to care at all.
Yeah,
I'm pretty impressed with like the amount of enemy types. I feel like every dungeon you go into, there's just a whole new swath of them, and sometimes you'll see repeats. Like I sent you a screenshot of the Hobgoblin because I thought that guy was cool looking, but also shoutouts to Hobgoblin. I really like the his name was Bowyer, so it's like obviously a play on Bowser, but he's like that bow and arrow boss.
Oh yeah.
I really liked his design. Not my favorite necessarily, but I loved what he does in the fight where he like shoots down the different buttons, so you like can't use the A button.
Yeah,
you can't
really
use the X button.
Really got to think about it there.
Yeah, but there's just a ton of variety. And then, have you seen the gorilla enemy?
The one that pretty much just looks like Donkey Kong, in my opinion.
Donkey Kong, but like in chains, and like it's so weird.
He's gonna be the villain of the next Donkey Kong game. Bring him back. Like I've been, like he's like the Lost Kong, like the one that they locked up and threw away, like Bruno from Encanto.
I don't like it. I like that. I like that I see Donkey Kong in there, but there is just something cryptid about that. I'm not into that one.
You're not into that one.
It's scary. It's scary.
It is scary, and that's I kind of like it because I just like that. Yeah, in this Bizarro universe, this is like a Kong that something happened to him. Like he has like a head, like handcuff or whatever, head cuff, something around him. It's
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I really like. I don't know why, because he feels Wario and Waluigi adjacent as Booster. He feels like somebody that
I know. I wanted to look this up because does he predate? He can't predate Wario, right?
I don't think so. Waluigi maybe. I don't know when they
Waluigi for sure.
But yeah, but he has that vibes, and they should bring Booster back in a new Mario game because he would fit right in. He'd fit right into WarioWare. So
sorry, I'm just googling like when did Wario?
Yeah, no. When did he debut? But yeah, I like him.
1992. Okay, so Wario predates this by 4 years, but it's like it's so puzzling to me that they didn't make just Wario this character. Instead, they went with a guy who's so clearly inspired and so close to Wario. But yeah, I agree. Booster was just such a freak. He's probably one of my favorite villains in the game so far.
And I like that too. You always get like little mini games too, like that when you have to jump on the Shy Guys' heads and the barrels to get up to Booster. And there's always these many things like. In the same level as well, you're hiding in Booster's, I don't know, dress rehearsal room before they go to the wedding, and people can run up. You're supposed to hide between these curtains, and they run up and go. So that's fun. But yeah, to me, this started the. This was, it's not the exact same because it's turn-based, but it reminded me similar of like Knights of the Old Republic, Midnight Suns, like this type of gameplay. I think this is probably where I can tie the inception point back to, because it's not anywhere near the vastness of what Midnight Suns was. Just go back, we did like 18 million casts on that, but it is that type of, okay, you're planning it out, you're planning your defense out, your offense, you're selecting your guys. What do you want to use a mushroom here, stuff like that. So I do think the gameplay, I think it's fun, and I think it's like, I think where it is, it reminds me a lot of similar, you know, how some of my critiques about Breath of the Wild are just that, okay, it's a lot of stuff that games have done before, but it's in the Zelda vein. That's what this feels like with Mario, but this feels like RPG elements, but also kind of easier. But that's where I guess for me, it probably was the inception point of this gameplay style. So I don't think it's too challenging. And I think it does get a good rotation, but I do think eventually you're like, okay, I think this game it's good for breaks. I don't think it's one where like, oh, I'm going to power through. I did a couple nights, but now it's like, okay, I played for a couple hours and I think that's like, it scratches the itch. You know, I got it there. I don't think you have to, it's not like a thinking man sort of with the combat that you have to do, but I think it's fun enough and there's enough variety that you can enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So on the RPG mechanics side of things, we've talked a lot of this kind of through the combat section, but yeah, I mean, you have stats that you're getting on level up, and then you get to pick which one you want. I'm curious. Do you think there's a rhyme or reason for sometimes you'll get like you always have physical, magic, or health. Like, which of these three things do you want to upgrade? And sometimes it'll be like physical +1, attack +1 defense. But then magic will be like +3 attack, +1 defense. So sometimes one of them will just be like a way higher stat than the other. I don't know if that's based on like, okay, I haven't picked this one in a while, so it's incentivizing me to go pick it. I don't know. It could just be truly random. I don't really know, but do you have a sense of that? Or what do you normally do? Because to me, it's like, well, if I'm normally getting like a -1, but then sometimes there's a -3, of course I'm going to go with the -3 because that's like I'm getting 3 level ups in one for this level here.
See, that's a different experience than I've had because I feel like it's always been the health has always been like a +5.
Yeah, health is always like 4 or 5 something.
Okay, and I feel like the magic's always been like 3 to 2, and the attack's always 1. It's always low for me.
Oh, you've never seen more than one. Okay, so it must be truly random then.
In the same way that I thought this was a completely random kid game or non-random kids game thing, but it was making you think that when you get the opportunity to double your XP and coins and you get Yoshi for the first 2 days, and I don't know, I probably did it 8-7 times. I'm not being over exaggerating here. Every time it landed on the right where Yoshi was every time. And I was like, is this, and I was like, is this something that it was always like this, but because it was maybe a child's game back in the day, that's where it was tougher. Eventually I finally on day 3 got one that was in the middle, but there was multiple times where I turned my console on and off. It was a new game, new start over, and Yoshi was always on the right. So I was like, this just must be the way it is. So that's where I might just have some really random thing that I just keep getting the health, the magic, and the strength, all of that certain type of one. Again, same thing, comments. Let us know your experience with it, and I'll keep a closer eye out to it now this time. But yeah, I think that's been my experience. But that attack's always been low, always.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And my method was always just whatever was close to. Like if I see something at 89, okay, I'll push it over. Like if I can get it to the next. Oh, that's just how my mind works. Like if I see a magic at 42 and it gets me 47, no, but a health, oh, that gets me to 60. Yeah, that's how it always works. That's how I went back and forth all the time. So,
man, yeah. I feel like if you played more RPGs, you would get off that habit pretty quick because I feel like that's not very efficient for like certain characters like Mallow, unless there's like a +3 in the physical. I'm going magic every time because he's a magic character. I'm always using spells with him. I'm never really using his attack because his attack fucking sucks. So that's one where I'm like when you need it, almost always putting in that magic attack. And then Peach, when I first got her health sucked. So I'm like, hey, first level or 2, I'm going to put some health bonuses in there. So I'm trying. And Mario, I've almost always done physical because I do a couple, like I'll do a fireball here or there, but I feel like his spells just cost so much flower points that I want to save it for my other characters. And his physical, since I've been boosting it so much, I'm like, I might as well keep pumping the adrenaline into this guy, and he can just be my physical beast here with the big hammer that he's got at this point.
Yeah, no, for me, I kind of maybe if I played some more harder RPGs as of late, but I feel like with everything, even the minor aspects like with Starfield, I usually try to do like a little, unless there's a stat I really like, I always do a little sprinkle here and there. I like to have them for, I do a lot in wrestling games. I just like to have a nice overall character because I agree with you with Malo, it's never good, but you never know when there's going to be a time where Bowser and Mario are dead, and that couple different points could maybe make a difference in knocking someone out, because sometimes it'll be, oh, almost down, and I go, okay, it's going to take one more hit, and it doesn't. Okay, how far is it going to go almost down? Maybe 5 versus 3 might help. So that's where I am there. And I do appreciate that all the characters, I imagine the old game did this as well too. I appreciate that they are even upgrading on the side when they're not being played. So I like that. Yeah,
it's good. I was shocked to see that kind of gambling thing in there with the Yoshi egg. It just so fucking, it's a weird inclusion, man. And like in an RPG, I don't know, I've never seen a game do this before. It is bizarre. I didn't notice the always right side thing. I don't think that was happening in my game. I think that was just random chance. You got that 1 in a million chance. But I will say the first 7 or 8 times that I got that thing, I was like, man, this is so easy. And I find the last one I got here, I finally missed the bonus on it. Yeah. So I don't know if it's sped up or if I just got so complacent because I thought it was so easy that I was like, oh, I can like half pay attention to this and still get it. But now that I have it, I'm like humbled again and I have to actually pay attention. But I love it. I'm always going to go for it because it's kind of fun to throw it in there.
Why wouldn't, and it's like, I don't know, why wouldn't you? It's a pretty easy system. But I feel when I missed it the first time was just me getting complacent. Like, I'm sure it's just on the right. And that's what it was. It was I picked the right. It was in the middle. So I was like, okay, I'll strengthen up, watch my game here. So.
Yeah. I love that whenever you like equip a new weapon on someone, it actually like physically that's what they'll use in combat because like they don't change their outfits even if you change that stuff.
No.
Which is once again fine, but I just. Well, one, like it always adds a new timing in there, so it's like a bit of a learning curve each time. But I think it's just so much fun. Like Mario, you get like the green shell with him, which I used for a little bit. You have like two different hammers that have like different animations, which I thought was which is cool. Just that level of detail. So it's always exciting buying a new weapon, and because of that, like I'm not really selling old ones. I'll sell old like thick shirts that I don't need anymore, or if I have too much of a consumable to make some extra bank. But yeah, I'm like keeping all my old weapons because I just like the idea of they all have unique animations. They maybe have some unique effect, so I want to keep them in my repertoire. So that's cool.
Yeah, I've sold them all. The second I move on, I'm like, take it, go. Because eventually you can always go back and buy them if you really want.
Right.
So that's where I sell them all because I'm always like,
you have so much money in this game too that I had the same experience as you. And every time I go to a new town, I pretty much buy every new thing I can, which is such a rare experience for RPGs. Normally it's like, maybe I'll save up for this new sword. I mean, if I sell all this other crap, I can get this one new thing. But in this, it's like, no, you're getting money pretty well. I'm not doing every battle, but I'm doing probably most of them when I'm going through a dungeon. Also, I gotta say, I love the fucking dance that the whole team does whenever anyone gets a level up, and it's like Mario, he's standing there, you're picking your points for him, and then everyone's doing their little shuffle, and like Mario's, for example, the first time I saw him do that, I probably just stood there for like 5-10 minutes and just watched him dance. He's just doing the same thing over and over, but it's just like, it's so weird and cute, and the fact that like Bowser's like just kind of popping off a little bit when Mallow gets a level up is such a funny idea. And I love that they're all just dancing in unison. It's so freaking cute. And I mean, the art style in this game, it really works for me. It's kind of chibi and silly and goofy, but very bright and colorful and vibrant. And I'm really digging it. It was weird at first, and it definitely took me a couple hours to get used to how weird and stumpy Mario is. And even like, you see Peach, but then you don't see her for a few hours. And it took me a bit to be like, okay, this is Peach. I gotta recalibrate here because her proportions are all messed up. But it's really grown on me. I think Bowser looks great. He doesn't even, his proportions seem normal too, which is the funny part about it.
He just seems like a bit smaller. But I feel like until you play the game, I still see everyday people all my time and be like, why does Mario look like this? Like, what's up with him? But it works here because it reminds me not that in Smash they look different, but in Smash I feel like some of them look a little taller and more like human-like, and when they're on like the toy platform. So I like that. There's so many renditions of these characters, and it's very Disney-esque, like with Mickey Mouse, where they can look a million different ways, right? So but luckily that's nothing that was new to me. I was more just surprised they kept that aesthetic. I thought they, being the new game, I think we may have talked about that when they revealed it, I thought they would have just easily swapped for, okay, let's not let Mario look a little so weird here, like let's update him. But I appreciate that, whether it's that or some weird dialogue we've talked about, they've kept the weirdness in. They've kept it there. So which again is strange even now, where I feel like Mario for the most part is a pretty PC company. Like they don't even have they don't have online chats just to protect kids and families, right? So, and not that this game, like I said, is like out there, but it is for them to release it now. It kind of took me by surprise with everything that's kept in there, because like you said, there's some racy things these characters say, but I appreciate being in there. So
definitely. Speaking of dialogue, there's been multiple moments where someone's been like, "Hey Mario, can you help?" And then you have a dialogue option that's like, "Of course," or "No." And of course, I'm always going to say, of course, because I'm Mario and I'm a good guy, and like that's what the quest is. But I'm curious because I know you like to play an evil guy in games. Like, are you role playing as evil Mario here? If you say no, I'm guessing nothing actually happens, and it will force you to take the quest anyway. But I am curious what happens in those moments.
No, I didn't play as Evil Mario. I don't think I can do that to myself. Just because there's probably not, like you said, too many options. But no, I always say yes. And plus, there's sometimes too where it's like, do you need an explanation how to go down this pipe? And I still hit yes. I'm like, oh, you get on top and you go down the pipe. And then it's just like, I appreciate that they do
Some
that.
of them I've had needed, though. And it's like, I'm glad I read that tooltip.
I hit yes every time because I'm like, you never know with this game. It has some weird, like, if I would have said no to that booster game running up the hill, I would have had no idea. So, but no, I keep my Mario a good guy. He's out there to help. Even though some people are rude to him and don't really believe he's the true Mario, I'm always there to help. So
it's true. Yeah, a lot of people want you to jump to prove that you're Mario, or just jump for some reason. Like in Mushroom Kingdom, one of the toads is just like, "Hey Mario, you have something on your shoe," and then you're like locked there. The only way you can get out of that little moment is to jump, and then she laughs at you because you thought there was something on your shoe. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, that like they don't believe you're Mario until you jump.
I've one jump too.
One jump's all you need. Yeah, I like that. There's been multiple moments in the game too where the characters will like enact almost a little play to explain to a character what's going on in the plot. Like that happens in Gino's, like I guess that family's house where you get Gino just back at Mushroom Kingdom there to kind of tell, I think whatever King Toadstool, whatever his name is, what happened.
The Chancellor.
The Chancellor, sorry, yeah. What happened with Peach and all that. I love those little scenes. I think they're so cute. And like you'll have those little comedic moments where all the characters like fall flat on their face. Just like
Mario will turn into Peach and Bowser at the beginning to tell his story. Like
right.
He physically turns into them.
It's crazy.
At first, I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, oh, this isn't Peach. This is just a retelling of it. So I appreciate all that.
Yeah, regular old Mystique. So really enjoying all that element with the story. Not that it's some crazy blowing my mind sort of thing, but it's funny and it's goofy and it's lighthearted.
And what I like too is. They take, again, where it kind of reminds me now in retrospect, because we've had this come up, but like I said, fourth wall break, almost a Deadpool thing where the first mission of the game is just a regular, or just even cutscene is, Bowser kidnaps Peach. They're doing the whole thing, and then that's over, and then it kind of gets broken in the middle of like, okay, you're made to think, oh, it's just gonna be another Mario game. But they even talk about it's like, oh no, we're going a different route this time. Like Bowser, sorry, you're not taking Peach. And I like that where right away it kind of breaks off from the norm right at the get-go. They even, they see Bowser's castle in the opening there, and everything happens. Then when you go back, you see it again, the exact same shot, but that sword's on it. So yeah, there's just little things like that where it feels like they are being very self-aware of what Mario games have done in the past. Even stuff of, hey, at one point you're Mario and you go into a curtain, you turn into like the Nintendo Mario, like the very pixel one. Yeah, so I just feel like throughout the game, there's always something clever that I'm not like dying laughing, but you just get a little chuckle of, okay, it feels like this was made with love. And the people that, even though if they're kind of making fun of it, it's in a good, joyous way, not in like, oh, that was so bad. It's like they're celebrating a lot of the history. And same thing, Bowser, he's like, oh, well, usually we do this. And I think that's a good thing to get him in the group because it does set it apart. So no, I like, and I said to you before, like, Malo and his dad, they have this little cutscene discussion about how he's not actually a tadpole and he's adopted. There's no really reason to be happening right now, but he just springs it on in the middle of this, like, by the way, you're not a tadpole. And like, I'm sorry. And then hopefully you find his family. Like, it just like has this weird soap opera effect to it too. Where like, okay, why is this there? But you just kind of chuckle. Okay, I'm down for the ride.
How do you what do you think about the choice in this game for Mario to be a silent protagonist? Because I feel like this is really a chance to put some personality on Mario, and you're not gonna have voice acting or something, so you can still get away with it without having to think about how it's gonna sound for Mario to say those things. But I think that's one of my favorite parts about this is like Bowser actually has a personality in this game other than just being the evil guy that like steals Peach at the beginning. Instead, he gets to be kind of this like down and out jock type who's like rejected, but like he still has this massive ego, and I really like how playful it is. And Peach, honestly, she's not too much different than she normally is, but like she has dialogue of her own, and I've just recruited her recently, so I'm sure we'll get more of that. You mentioned some stuff with Mallow. Gino has like this whole backstory, so I don't know. I guess it was maybe a bit surprising for me that Mario, he still has some personality, like he tells it when he's jumping around or when he's telling his little stories, but I don't know. He doesn't have dialogue, and I don't know what was gained by not giving him dialogue.
He still very much feels like the Mario of old, where he, doesn't have the dialogue jumping. It feels like he's kind of a mute, like he is, but like literally he can't speak. Like that's his character. But one thing about the Peach thing, it was very odd where you unlock Peach. It's like Peach is now joining your party. You go talk to the Chancellor, they take her away. Oh, Peach is in your party. You go outside, she's in the tower. Hey Mario, I want to join you. And then it's like Peach is back in your party.
I love that. That was so good.
Point of all that, I need that. But no, I think I'm 50-50 because I could have seen them being like, hey, you can do a lot of fun stuff with this Mario RPG thing, but still leave the character of Mario of kind of ambiguous, because I feel like for the most part, people put their own like aspirations in the Mario because he's just like a hero type. He is just the general, I'm that guy. So you kind of bring some of yourself into Mario and what you would do. So I think there's that. But at the same time, I think because this is so off the wall, and I think up until now, I feel like you had a fan base of Mario RPG, but it's not like everyone's like, oh, this character, like they ruined Bowser, they did this. So I feel like even back in the past, you could have gone away with it, but maybe that was just them wanting still to be safe of, okay, you can change other people, but even Peach, like you said, it's not changed that much. Bowser can kind of be like this weird loser because he is the villain. He's just going to go back to getting his butt kicked. And even then, I think stuff like this maybe panned out for Bowser because he ended up being a Melee or Mario Kart, like other racing games or other just like Mario type games. So maybe he needed personality. So I'm fine with it not being there, but I don't think there's a reason why it couldn't be there. I think it could have added a bit more to it. So
yeah, fair enough. I guess we could talk about a little bit some of our favorite parts of the adventure. I think one of my favorite dungeons would be the sewer area. I forget what the actual name of it is, but it's like right after Mushroom Kingdom. You go through these
with the water that goes up and down. And
yeah,
stuff?
with the water, you got some booze in there. And what I liked about it is that it really just some booze. Oh. Have you heard of them before? They're like little ghosts. That,
I thought you meant the alcoholic drink.
Yeah, there's a lot of booze.
Like a lot of booze. I'm like, no, that's just water, Dylan. That's raising up and not just like this boosters all about that. Yeah,
that would be
booze there.
That would be a significant quantity. But but I what I love about that is the design of it really felt like they took the design of like a Boo house from like a 2D Mario game, and that there's all these different pipes. You don't really know which one's going to take you where, in the same way that Boo houses always have the doors, and you don't really know where they're going to take you. So I really like that section. I thought that was cool, and it was one that when I finally got through it, I felt like, man, there's probably a couple other hidden routes I could have gone to go get some bonus items or frog coins or whatever it is too. And that's always a good feeling when you go through a dungeon in that way. So that might be maybe my individual favorite area, followed by probably the pirate ship. I really enjoyed that section. Now that I just finished it, I just like that you're kind of solving this 6-hint clue, and I liked all those little mini rooms that you got to do, like that one where you're following the coin around, that platformer one.
Yeah,
like that's a fun little platforming challenge that took me 3 or 4 tries, and I like the puzzle of that. So I thought that was another highlight dungeon for me.
Yeah, I think my highlight was probably boosters, not just because the booster play like the character, but I really liked it. It had this very cartoon animated feel to it, almost like a kind of twisted Pixar. Like I said, I liked that mini game of hiding in the thing. I liked that there was quite a few. Not like a massive game, but I feel like it could reroute you a few times because you would get a key and you'd open up a door, and then you go back to the other, like, well, you need a key, and you're like, well, I just got a key, and you have to get a different key. There's that one room, which again, it was annoying me, but I appreciated, where you had to literally walk from one side to another, but there were the water, like fire waters, and they were hidden. So you kept bumping into them. So it sucked because I was trying to get to a save point because I just wanted to move through. But I appreciated that it was happening because, like, okay, this would happen at Booster's thing. And like I said, it was capped off by the running. So I think that, and I agree with you with the pirate ship one. I like the sewer. There are not too many I dislike, but I think probably Booster would be my highlight. I like the kind of circus color aesthetic. I like at one point he had like all his family from like decades, but they're all like very cartoon drawings of very.
Did you see the little Samus toy in his toy box? Okay,
I thought you meant the drawing. Yeah, I saw the Samus toy. Yeah, no, I didn't. That's cool. Yeah, so I could use a little more of that too, because you got. I guess maybe that's what that ape was. He was alluding to Donkey Kong, but yeah, and then obviously he was part of the ship. I did really like the squid fight. That was a fun aesthetic. So.
Yeah, it was a good one as well. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of Indiana Jones type set pieces. Like there's like a minecart thing. There's a barrel race. There's like this going down the water on this mountain. All these things that kind of break up the different dungeons too. So those are all fun enough. I mean, they're all like little 5-minute romp. You get to do something different for a bit there, so that's cool. And then I like going into towns because that's not something you really get to do in Mario games. Sometimes you might go talk to like one toad here or there, but I just like going into the different towns. And I like that this game has a lot of Mushroom Kingdom and like that familiar Nintendo stuff. There's a lot of Shy Guy variants. There's the squids that I forget the name off the top of my head, but there's a lot of familiar enemies, but then there's also a ton of new people we haven't seen before. And then you'll get like the mole community, where there's a bunch of mole characters and they have this hill, and that's like a town you can go to. And like Marymore, I think is the place where the marriages happen. Yeah. So you get like a mix. Yeah. And then you have like a Yoshi's Island too. So you get like a bunch of new weird places and then kind of some familiar places that are once again weird because they're spun up in the Super Mario RPG, decoration on it. But I'm liking all just the flow of like town, dungeon, weird set piece, town, dungeon, set piece. It's kind of a nice gameplay loop.
It's a good loop. It's a good breakup. I was going to say, not that's necessarily a world level, but it does get taken over. I do like when the chapel gets taken over and that poor couple, they're just there to get married. You show up there, they're just crying like, oh, this was supposed to be our day.
Yeah. And there's the kid outside that like really has to piss his pants and he's just like not.
Did you talk to him during the wedding?
I don't know if I talked to him during the wedding. I talked to him outside the castle, but I don't know if I did inside.
So you do that and then he's in there because if after you get all the earring, whatever for Peach, you have that whole conversation. Bowser joins, Peach joins, and you get Booster out of there. When you go back, all the Toads, they go back into half. So they do hold that wedding. And I went up to them. They just say, I do. The kid.
Okay, I didn't actually go in and see the wedding itself.
The wedding proceeds. The wedding proceeds. So they're saying, I do. They're getting married. And then when you're walking, the kid's still like, he's still shaking in his seat. And you go talk to him. And he goes like, oh, I got to go. And he just runs right out the door, out of the room. And then that's hopefully he found a washroom. So, but they did get married.
In my save, he's still holding it to this very day until I go there. Poor kid.
Go back and relieve him. But I will say that was a fun, like that city getting taken over as like a mini level. I enjoyed that. But I agree with you. I like exploring it. Most of it, I wish that they would put a bit more, I don't know, just things to find in houses, because it's still fun to walk into a random house and talk to somebody. They have something cute to say, but I wish you'd maybe be not every house, but reward for something, whether it's like a person gives you like, oh, take this on your adventure, even if it's like $1 or $2, because eventually it's like, okay, when we talk about streamlining the game, other than you just enjoying the vibe of the world, there's no reasons to go in there, which is kind of strange because most Mario games in the past, obviously, it's smaller output when this game was originally made. But I feel like they're always up to, oh, there's something secret there. You could do that. So I think a little more would have been nice in the houses. And even they could have added it here, but alas, it's well.
Yeah, it's interesting to play an RPG that doesn't have any like side content really. Like I guess there is technically in that tadpole area, you can go do that music thing and you get a little bonus thing there, and like within the dungeons, as we mentioned, there might be like a hidden route here or there, but there isn't like side quests, and there's no like even quest log in this game. I was confused for a bit. I'm like, God, where do I have to, like I recovered Peach, and this was like
flag.
I had like I just saved Peach, and then I like saved my game, and I came back the next day. I'm like, what was I supposed to do again? Like, I don't see a new spot on the map open up. I think they do put a flag maybe where you're supposed to go.
They do, yeah.
I don't think I noticed that at the time, but now that I know, I'm kind of have a good idea where to go. But it is interesting. Yeah, normally that would be like what these towns in an RPG is like we can get 1 or 2 side quests, and maybe it takes you out into the wild, or maybe it's a side quest that's resolved within that town. And there's been a couple tiny little things, but nothing that I would even call a side quest. Here we are on the show called Sidequest. So
not even a, because like you still have to do them progress the story. Because I thought at one point, because like I said, it'd been a while, but when the guy steals your coin, that dinosaur, and you need to chase him, I thought, oh, is that gonna be a side quest? But no, you still have to do that to progress the story, to talk to the dad. So they could even
nothing wrong with that. To be clear, it's just interesting to go back to an RPG like this where that's just not what RPGs look like anymore, or even back in the time, they didn't really look like that. Most of them back in the day had a lot of side content to do in there.
Yeah, this is just the main story stripped down, And again, it's because, even Nintendo, it's like they've more, like they've done that, but I still feel like RPG is not that's not their bread and butter. There's other brands doing that, but like there's not.
I don't know. I mean, like there has been a lot of Paper Mario games. There's been a bunch of. Like
they can be pretty streamlined though, as far like
and then the Mario and Luigi games, I think maybe get a bit more RPG-ish, and that's like that's a subgenre that I feel like no one really thinks about, but there's still like 5 or 6 of those games.
Those have been a while though, right? And even Paper Mario, I feel like that can be for the most part pretty streamlined as far as you're doing your side-scrolling missions and everything. So I feel. Right. If you look at the Nintendo characters, I don't know if this is like a testing of the water to see if they could do something with Mario in the future with this, like a grander scale. I'd be down. I'd love to see what a RPG 2 would look like in this era of, video games, but
yeah, it's weird just seeing what does Nintendo decide to do like a HD remaster or a remake of versus what do they just port? Where, they have with Nintendo Switch Online, like Link's Awakening could have just been a Game Boy game that they dropped on there, but instead they did that remake. That was before Game Boy was on Nintendo Switch Online. With this, they could have just dropped the old one on the SNES, and I think most people would have been fine with that. And then even early next year, they're doing Mario versus Donkey Kong, that Game Boy Advance game, and that's like not really a remake, more of like an HD or Switch version.
Similar to this, I think. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because that game was like 2D sprites, pixel art. Now it's like 3D, I guess. So it's like that. Also, they could have just dropped it on Nintendo Switch Online. I think most people would have been like, as a big fan of that game, I would have been okay with they just did that too. So it is weird what they are picking and choosing, and it doesn't seem like they're picking the biggest, most popular things either. It's like, I guess this one is pretty popular and pretty well regarded, but like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, that's kind of a weird oddity. So I found that pretty puzzling that was one that they decided to go that route with, and maybe that's because they're testing waters for a revival of that series. I don't really feel like this remake screams to me that they did it because they're testing the waters to see if they're going to make a Super Mario RPG 2. That's not really the vibe I get. I would love to be surprised about that, but I just don't see that happening anymore.
See, that's where I push back, because I just not on that I don't know if they'll make it or not. I think it's more the popular thing where I feel like there's a select few people I know that loved it, but I feel like I barely bump into people. Like I know US Clay Agent, on our Discord, he played it, but I don't know if there's anybody else I personally know that has played into an amount where like they loved it, not the amount of like so I feel like it is well loved, but almost, I won't say it's like a cult because it's a Mario game. I don't think any Mario game can really be like a cult following, but I think it is a smaller tier one. What is their intention? I really don't know, because same thing as you, I would have thought they would have just put this on the store. So you could argue that, they're probably not going to do a sequel, but at the same time, why wouldn't they just kind of copy and paste and upres? So like you could argue maybe there is a reason, right? Maybe there is, and we've seen that before, where this is a testing ground. So and money talks, but at the same time, Nintendo's fine, they don't need it. So I would be down, but I'm not. When I bought this and played this, I was not expecting, I'm really hoping for 2. If it were to happen though, that'd be great, but that's not any thought I realistically had as of right now. But ask me maybe in a month when we get the sales figures, and you never know.
No, I mean, there could be a lot more to it. It honestly, it could just be random, or it could be something like obviously the development of this would have had to start before the Mario movie, at least released. Maybe it was in production, but maybe Nintendo was really thinking ahead and being like, hey, we're not going to have Odyssey 2 ready, and so we need some Mario things to sell people, and so we'll just do these remakes, remasters, because they're much easier to do. And so maybe that's the only reason Mario vs. Donkey Kong is getting a remake.
And I think that,
then also, that doesn't mean you can't then look at it, and if this sells 10 million copies somehow, maybe that says to them, ooh, we should do RPG 2. Let's get Square Enix. I don't know where the rights are with this, if they would have to combine with Square Enix in some way, but figure out the logistics on that and make it happen. Maybe that's what it could be too. But I guess for me, I feel like the whole Nintendo Switch Online existence and the Switch existence, or whenever they added the SNES on Nintendo Switch Online, people have been like, I want Earthbound and I want Mario RPG. I want Mario RPG and I want Earthbound. Like, that's just all people are asking for. Yeah. So I guess that's where I feel like that's where I've seen a lot of the love and reverence from this game. And then also I think, just as I mentioned, Gino being one of those most requested characters forever, to me has always said like, well, there must be a lot of Mario RPG fans out there. If a ton of people want Gino and ask for him iteration after iteration, even though this game's 20 years old at this point, they still like Smash Ultimate, top of their lists. Give me Gino. Like,
Gino.
He's up there. Impact, so no, never Mallow. Poor Mallow. He gets the short end of the stick here. People always want Gino.
I could see some people finding him annoying.
He could be like part of his ultimate attack or something.
Yeah,
like
he'd make a good trophy too.
He probably is a trophy, because I think Gino is a Mii Fighter costume, so that's the closest you can get in Smash. But Travis, anything else on this game?
Let me check my notes if I wrote anything else more down that we haven't covered, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna beat this thing probably within the next couple weeks. I think I'm gonna just stick with it here before. I think this would be a tricky one where I might forget what I was doing if I take too much time away from it. And like I said, I think it's probably pretty short too, so probably within the next couple weeks I'll beat it, and whenever you're back, I'm sure we'll talk about it some more when we get closer to the end of it. But yeah, anything else?
No. Luckily, for the most part, like we said, it is pretty much, to my knowledge, like the original, just looking a little prettier. Yeah. And I've had a great time with it. This was a great blast from the past. I know there's been times where, like you said, the store, but I feel like a time that I honestly, I think this is true. I think back in the Wii U days, I think they had it on the store, and I think I bought it and never played it because I think I had like some Wii U bucks and stuff. So
the Wii U had a really good virtual console.
Yeah. So this was nice to dip the toes back in. This is a game that I think when I beat, it'll be sitting around for a little bit, but I'm happy it's back in my life. I think it could also be a good one too when the kids are getting older to, like myself, introduce them this type of genre of, okay, you've done this, and see if this is type of your style, and if it's not, then clearly it's okay. These games aren't for you. But no, it was a good blast from the past. This was pure nostalgia, and this wouldn't be going on my like game of the year list. It wouldn't even be going on my like favorites of all time. But it just matched what I wanted. Definitely, I think I probably enjoyed it more when I was smaller, just because I think the scale of it probably seemed a lot bigger then, where now it's like, okay, we've seen a lot of things in the RPG realm, even back then, but especially now in this combat, it's okay. Not too much to scratch here anymore, but it feels like a nice warm bowl of soup, just, you're getting.
Which is the winter, so that's what we need.
Yeah, it's just what you need. It's not like, maybe there's some soups you love, but it just is like, yeah, good.
Mm-hmm. Last question. Did you rock the classic music or the new and improved music?
A bit of both. I did for the first night.
Back and forth.
Yeah, when you told me the first night, we went back to original. But for the first, so I played the first mission with the new music, then I went to original. But then after I played that, I was like, you know what? That original music was sounding nice because it was nice updates, everything. So I went back. So now I just I try to in both worlds. So I've definitely forgot a couple times, but I tried to when I switch into a major area, switch between the two and see what it is. But again, really appreciate that. They did that with the Mario Party that they never supported like they should have with Superstars, but they had that aspect there as well. So again, I appreciate it. It's just good quality of life stuff. So
yeah, this is another one of those. I feel like I have so many of these games where I'm nostalgic for the soundtrack, and I've always loved the music of this game, even though it's the first time I've played it. But even when I was playing this, Muds is like, why do I recognize this song from this game you've never played before? I'm like, well, I have a bunch of these songs in my music playlist because the soundtrack is fantastic. So yeah, really, I like that you have both versions. That's really nice. Yeah. There you go. That does it for us here at Sidequest RPG. Next week, we'll be back to do our Game Awards predictions. That'll be a very exciting time. Very excited for the Game Awards.
I'm on 3 weeks in a row because then I'll be on the Game Awards too. Yeah.
Very good time. Very exciting.
You think so? Yeah.
Well, didn't they announce that they're doing GTA 6 there?
They just said in December. They didn't say Game Awards, but it has to be Game Awards, right? It has to be. Because Keeley...
That's a good time, yeah.
Yeah, Keeley tweeted something very sly of after they said that, he was like, oh, Game Awards. It was literally...
Okay, it's confirmed then. I mean, let's just...
It's not confirmed. It's just that maybe he's trying to get some hype and people will be disappointed. But
I will be... Yeah, that is a bad thing for him to hype up. Because if it is not there, I will... The first thing I'll say on the podcast is, Jeff Keeley, fuck you for...
Oh, man, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm here for the next 3 weeks, so...
Cool, yeah, very good times. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.